Welcome back. So I have cleaned everything up. So I've made sure along sort of these areas where I spot welded that I've just run a sander through them. I've all the e-coated stuff I've scotch padded, and I've scotch padded the existing etch primer that was sprayed on when the car's shell was sandblasted. So I'm not putting etch primer on the bare metal. I'm just going to use an epoxy primer over the bare metal, and it can also go over the etch primer, and the e-coating. So I've prepped everything. What have I done? I've panel wiped everything. I've just put some paper just to cover areas. I know there's going to be overspray, but what I don't want is the epoxy primer all over the panels. Then I'm going to have to rub it all down and so on. So I'm just going to knock the primer together, and then I'm going to get on my spraying. So I'll just leave it to record, and then Keith can speed it up or whatever. I know what will happen if I try and put it on time lapse. I'll do something wrong and then it just be wrong. So yeah, so the plan is I'm going to kind of spray this half first because I've got easy access to everything, and then I'm just going to roll it over a bit more just so I can get the other side. So that's why it's kind of like that. I have thought about laying it flat, but then I've got to stand and try and reach over, and it's I'm going to try it like this and see how it goes. So I'll be back in a bit. so it's actually got quite good coverage. So why did I do what I did? So I've put a epoxy primer on obviously the underside, where are we, on the rear valance, because I am going to stone chip that with coloured Raptor, and I'm also going to stone chip the front. Yeah, sorry, battery ran out. Yeah, so I'm actually stone chipping the front, the rear valance, obviously all the underside, the arches, front and back. I'm just debating on, I think I'm going to stone chip up to this point here, and then inside here, maybe here, I'm not sure yet. Obviously inside the wings, like I say, I have got tinted Raptor, but I've only got 4 bottles of it, so I don't know how far that's going to go. But I've got good coverage with the primer. I did use a lot, but I'd rather have too much on there than not enough. So yeah, I've just epoxy primered these bits as well, just because when once I get it on back on the jig, it's just easier. These bits are quite difficult to spray, so I just wanted to make sure I got coverage everywhere that I could get underneath. So next step tomorrow, I'm going to put the seam sealer on. Obviously all the underside, any joints in the arches, rear, front and rear, and so that I'll do that tomorrow. It needs to really sort of go off overnight. They say you can spray on it when it's got a skin on it, but I'd rather it go off. So another milestone. A few days, it'll be stone chipped in colour, and then I can get it back on the jig and start the prep work inside in the bonnet and boot area, and then on the outside. So yeah, it's yeah, I'm happy with that. Good job. Welcome back. So yeah, it's the next day. I've put on the seam sealer in the areas that I want it put on. I've scotch padded all the primer, and so I'm ready to apply the Raptor. Colour looks good, so I'll just show you what I've so in the arches, obviously I've done where the wing meets the inner arc, the wing meets the inner wing, down the A panel join, just around the lights, because I'm not sure if you're aware, but this ring is actually spot welded onto there, so I've just run some seam sealer around that, just as a precaution, and obviously the joins of the front panel and the wing, just underneath here, on where the toe board meets the whatever that's called, I've forgotten. And just the basic sort of areas. I'll just put a bit around this because it's not a seam, but that's welded onto that. So yeah, again down this rear seam, through the back heel board to boot floor area, just these seams here, around the battery box, and obviously across the arches, and I have got a bit inside the join in the behind the valance. So yeah, I'm ready to start putting the Raptor on. I shall get on with that now. Alright, don't know what happened there. Anyway, it's done. So a few ups and downs. So that's the stuff I used. Obviously I've got it tinted in the bronze yellow. Now, regrets, I mean it's alright stuff, because I've used, what's the other stuff, Gravitex. I've used that before, I've normally used that, but I thought I'd use the tintable stuff, just save time, I suppose, save layers. So, regrets, you'll see in a minute. I don't know whether you can see now. You can see where the seam sealer is obviously darker than the primer underneath. So I'm hoping, because it's still obviously green, that it's going to go back. Now I did have enough to put a bit more on areas you might see, like in the wheel arches and stuff like that, but I'm hoping it's just once it cures, it's just gonna go away, if you like. So if it doesn't, then on the next one, if I do use that, I'll probably go through the process of priming, seam sealing, then priming again, and then putting the Stonechip on. Yeah, it's covered all right, I suppose. 4 was just about enough, just. I managed to get good coverage in the front wings. I think I've got everything. It looks like it anyway, so I'll just show you what's what. So I obviously did the front valance. Now if I want to, I can spray over that when I do the front end. It's not a biggie. I could just Scotch pad it, prime it, and just put normal gloss over it. But I mean, it looks alright. It's very tricky to get everywhere properly without touching other things with the gun, with the hose. So obviously I've got the inside of that, just because it's a pain in the backside to spray when you're doing the engine bay. So I didn't do that part because I can get that when I'm doing in the engine bay when it's off the spit. I'm careful not to touch it. So again, pretty good coverage. Doesn't really allow you to build it up too much. It starts sagging, so I think with the Gravitex stuff it goes on, I don't know whether it's because it was black, I suppose. Seems to go on a bit thicker. I paid particular attention to making sure sort of either side of all these tabs were done, inside there. Tried getting a little bit in these little things, but I will put the Dynax stuff in cavity wax in them, sprayed a bit into them. That's why there's a little bit of a run there, or bubble. Yeah, I think it's gone alright actually. And you can see it's a bit darker here, but obviously you don't see any of this anyway, so and yeah, it's obviously quite tricky getting it in there, but I've got good coverage in there. And then again, I did the rear valance. Again, I can spray it if I need to, but at least it's stone chipped and covered, so in colour. So yeah, so I'm going to let that dry. I'm probably just going to, because of the energy crisis, I've not been having the heating on so much in the garage. When the price of gas is just astronomical, so I'm just going to, so it's about 16 degrees in here, but I did put the heating on yesterday because it was about 12 degrees in here, so I'm just going to let that go for a week before I even decide to take it off the spit and put it on the jig bed. Once I get it on that, then I can obviously start the prep work on the top half, inside and engine bay. Yeah, so very, very, very happy to see that done. It's a big, big milestone for me. Very big. Yeah, very happy with that. See you on the next one.